Now, some mining companies were forced to shut down some of their underground operations and processing plants. The nationwide load shedding by Eskom has posed a safety risk for the tens of thousands of workers. For more on this, we're now joined on the line from Pretoria by Chief Economist at the Minerals Council of South Africa, Hank Langenhoven. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Langenhoven. This load shedding, planned power cuts, whatever you want to call them, have really been playing havoc on the mining sector.
Absolutely. The problem with stage 6 is that we virtually only have power to run ventilation and keep the pumps going and get people out of the shafts. So that was a serious disruption, and for a day we were not certain of what's going to happen.
Is stage 4 manageable?
Stage 4 is manageable to a degree. Stage 2 is fine. Companies can actually maneuver around doing things, delaying certain processes. Stage 4 for them is a problem, and they start to have to curtail either production or smelting or that sort of thing. So it becomes uncomfortable then to keep going at the levels that we need to.
And I would imagine that it's not just a question of switching off the plugs at a mine and switching them on again. Powering up and starting once you've shut down is quite a process.
You're absolutely right. If you have one shift not going down, the next phase is for engineers to go down to try and make certain that it's safe, and then the next shift can go down. So it is greatly disruptive, and if it's longer than just the day or so, then it can disrupt a process that have ripple effects up to 3 weeks sometimes.
And with commodity prices and the margins that some of these mines are working at, days not operating or not operating to capacity will have an effect on the bottom line and perhaps even down the line on jobs.
Absolutely. That is actually the big worry, is that currently, because of the uncertainty and because of the curtailment, we cannot run at the capacities that we can. I don't know whether you know, but we have about 150 smelters in the country. 74 of them are either shut or run at below capacity. So it's a great pity that the capacity of the economy, as it is, are underutilized. Talk of expansion is actually very difficult to do.
So what's the prognosis then from where we're standing at the moment?
Well, I have to repeat what the COO said, that the system remains unpredictable and unreliable. And I mean, later sometime during the day, they said that these maintenance problems will continue for the next 2 years. That is actually quite worrying, because you struggle to then maintain what you have, and there's no talk of expansion. And the more capacity is idle, which is not costless, you have to have the fixed cost, and you have to pay people. I mean, you can't not pay people if the power goes off. Eventually the costs are just running up, and you can't produce the product that you're selling. So it does have eventually an impact on margins, which is not very bright in some of the commodities. So it's not helpful, if I can put it that way.
All right. So you mentioned ventilation and powering, those kinds of necessary aspects of running the mine. And I just wonder, can safety become a factor here in terms of these continual load sheddings, that things start to fail just because they're being constantly switched on and off?
That is true. The on and off switching is actually true. Our own building in the middle of Johannesburg has a problem with electricity because our fuel cell has the electricity spike. That is true. We are very, very conscious of safety. We'd rather not send shifts down if we're uncertain. And most mines have emergency capacity to actually bring their people back up from underground. And we must say that we have a very good understanding with Eskom that they will warn us with about 4 hours to actually achieve that. So our people are paramount. We will bring them up rather than risk their lives just to have another ton of ore coming to the surface.
If this persists, this current crisis, I mean, are we likely to see some mines actually shutting down permanently?
I hate to say that it is possible. It does differ dramatically from commodity to commodity, and even within a commodity, I'm thinking of chrome. The chrome price has been under severe pressure. There may be mines that will function very well for quite a while. In platinum, we know there are some of the lowest cost mines in South Africa, but also some of the highest cost mines. So it's varied. It is not helpful. It makes it very difficult to plan and to produce. And a mine is something that takes out what we know are there. It needs to expand and to explore to continue. So if it becomes, if your bottom line is not giving you the space to do that, then it's like going into a cul-de-sac. So it is unhelpful.
All right, Mr. Langenhoven, we're going to leave it there for the time being. But thanks very much indeed for your insights. That's Hank Langenhoven, who's an economist at the Minerals Council of South Africa, explaining to us the challenges that the mining sector and minerals in general under pressure as a result of this ongoing energy crisis.